Lost in the snowstorm, the wind howled like a wild beast across the frozen planet. Snow whipped through the sky, sharp like glass. Jake pulled his coat tighter around his body, teeth chattering. His small survival pod was half buried in snow, useless now. The crash had damaged everything. No heat, no food, no working radio. Only his emergency tent and one sleeping bag were still working. Jake was a human explorer, sent to map this unknown planet in the Zeta system. No one expected the weather to turn this bad. The ice storms came early. Now he was alone, or so he thought. As he stumbled through the storm trying to gather some supplies, he saw something strange in the snow. A shape, small, still. At first he thought it was a statue or ice-covered rock, but when he got closer he gasped. It was a girl, not a human girl, an alien. She was lying on her side, skin bluish-silver, glowing slightly under the snow. Her body was thin, too cold. Long white hair stuck to her face. She wore torn clothing and had strange markings on her neck and arms. Her lips were purple from the cold and her eyes were barely open. Jake hesitated. His training told him to be careful. She could be dangerous. She could be a trap. But another voice in his head whispered, "She'll die if you leave her." He looked around. The wind roared louder. The snow was falling harder. He had only minutes before he froze too. With a grunt, he bent down, picked up her fragile body and started walking back to his tent. Inside the emergency tent, the heat lamp gave a little warmth. Jake quickly laid her on the insulated floor and covered her with a blanket. But her body was like ice. Shaking, he checked her pulse. Very slow, but there. She was alive, but not for long. Jake sat there for a moment, staring at her. What if she woke up and attacked him? What if her kind hated humans? But the way she looked right now, weak, scared, helpless, she didn't seem like a threat. He looked at his sleeping bag. It was made for 2 people in case of emergency, but sharing it with an alien? Was that safe? He bit his lip. Screw it, he muttered. Jake unzipped the sleeping bag and gently slid inside. Then he carefully pulled her body in too, wrapping both of them tightly in the thermal material. Her skin was cold like ice water. He pressed her closer, trying to share his body heat. Her head rested near his chest. He could hear her soft, shallow breaths. She still wasn't conscious. Jake stayed, awake, shivering but alert, afraid she might wake and panic. But instead, something strange happened. He felt a small warmth spreading from her skin. Then a soft electric tingle like static ran across his chest. Her body twitched. Her fingers curled lightly against his side. Jake froze. She was reacting to his body. Heat. But it was more than that. Her skin shimmered slightly and he saw faint lines glow under her skin like patterns lighting up. "What the hell?" he whispered. The alien girl made a soft sound in her throat. Not a word, more like a whisper in a language he didn't know. Then her eyes fluttered open, just a little. Glowing violet eyes. She looked at him, not with fear, but confusion. Her lips moved. She whispered again, and this time, Jake felt it, not in his ears, but in his mind. Warm. Safe. Jake's eyes widened. Was she talking to him telepathically? Before he could react, her eyes closed again. She fell back into sleep, breathing a little easier now. The storm outside raged for hours. Inside the tent, Jake couldn't sleep. He stared at the alien girl, trying to understand what just happened. He had offered her a space in his sleeping bag to save her life. But now, she was inside his mind. What did she mean by safe? Why did her body glow when she touched him? Why did he feel a strange warmth? Not just in his body, but deep inside his thoughts. Something had begun the moment she entered his sleeping bag. Something unexpected. Jake didn't know it yet, but this single act of kindness would change both their lives and maybe the entire galaxy. She wasn't what he expected. The storm had passed, but inside the small tent something strange lingered. A connection. Jake woke to the soft hum of the tent's heater. His body was warm, but not just because of the sleeping bag. He looked down and saw her, the alien girl, still curled up against him, breathing slowly. Her blue skin now had a soft glow, like light, underwater. He didn't move. She looked peaceful, even beautiful in a strange way. Her long white lashes trembled and her fingers twitched as if she were dreaming. Then her eyes opened. Bright violet, glowing, and locked directly onto his. Jake froze. He didn't know what to say. Would she scream? Would she panic? But she didn't move. She just stared. Then, without opening her mouth, he heard her. Where am I? The voice wasn't in his ears. It was inside his head. Jake's heart pounded. Did you just talk to me? He whispered. The girl blinked slowly. She was weak, but calm. You are not like the others. Her words touched his mind gently, like a feather brushing skin. No sound, no lips moving, just pure thought. Jake sat up, careful not to startle her. You're telepathic, he said softly. Yes, you saved me. Why? That question hit him like a stone. Why? He had no reason. She was a stranger, a member of a species that many humans considered dangerous. But he had seen her lying in the snow, freezing, alone. What kind of man would leave her there? Jake scratched his head. I don't know. I guess it just felt right. She stared at him again as if she could see straight through him. You touched my thoughts. I saw your memory, your sadness. Jake stiffened. What do you mean? You miss someone? A brother? His eyes widened. Nobody knew about that. Not even his crew. His younger brother gone during a scouting mission last year. Jake blamed himself every day. He had buried that memory so deep, but somehow... She saw it. You rid my mind. Not on purpose. Your emotions are loud. She sat up weakly, wrapping the emergency blanket around herself. Her movements were slow, but her eyes were sharp now. She wasn't just some helpless girl anymore. What's your name? Jake asked. She hesitated. Talari. Jake nodded. I'm Jake. Jake Marlowe. Talari looked around the tent. Her eyes landed on the human food packs, then the heat lamp, then the broken radio in the corner. You crashed too? Jake sighed. Yeah. Ship got hit by an energy burst. I was on a solo survey run, never expected company. She looked down at the sleeping bag, then back at him. You shared warmth with me. That means something to my kind. Jake frowned. Means what? A bond. His breath caught. A bond? Like romantic? She tilted her head. Then, strangely, she smiled. No. Deeper. More rare. Not love. Connection. Jake was completely lost. He rubbed his eyes. You're gonna have to explain this slowly. Talari closed her eyes for a moment, gathering strength. My people. We form bonds only when minds touch during weakness. It creates a thread, a link. Now, I can feel you. Jake stared at her, unsure if he should be terrified or amazed. Feel me? How? She pointed at her chest. Your heartbeat, your worry, your pain. Jake leaned back. That's creepy. It's not permanent, but if we stay close, it grows. Jake sighed. Great. So now we're psychically attached because I shared my sleeping bag? Yes, she said simply. He groaned. Why does weird stuff always happen to me? Talari chuckled softly, a musical sound that echoed in his mind. Her laugh surprised him. He didn't think aliens even could laugh like that. She stood up slowly. Her legs shook, but she stayed upright. Jake jumped up to help her, but she raised a hand. I'm not broken, just healing. She walked to the edge of the tent and looked out at the frozen world. They will come for me, she whispered. Jake's body tensed. Who? The ones who hunted me. They want what's inside my mind. He looked at her, serious now. What is inside your mind? She turned to him and said just one word. A secret, worth killing for. The bond awakens. The sky above the frozen planet was clear now, but inside Jake's small tent something strange was growing. Jake sat near the heater, watching Talari from the corner of his eye. She wasn't sleeping anymore. She was sitting cross-legged, eyes closed, hands resting on her knees. She looked calm, but something about her had changed. Since the moment they shared the sleeping bag, Jake felt different. His thoughts weren't the same. Sometimes emotions came into his head that weren't his, like fear, hunger, curiosity, but not from him, from her. Talari's voice suddenly echoed in his mind. You feel it too. Jake jumped. You scared the hell out of me. Her eyes opened slowly. I was listening, not to you, but to the thread between us. Jake frowned. Thread? You mean that psychic link thing? She nodded. It's growing stronger. Jake stood up and paced. So let me get this straight. Because I helped you, our minds are connected? Yes. And you can hear my thoughts? Not all. Only feelings. Strong ones. Jake sighed. Great, so you know I'm annoyed. I do. He stared at her. This isn't normal. Not for me, anyway. She tilted her head. It's not normal for me either. This bond, it's rare, sacred. I did not choose it. It chose us. Jake stopped pacing. Can we break it? Talari's face turned serious. If we separate, it will fade. But it may hurt. Jake didn't like the sound of that. He sat back down. So, who are you really, Talari? Why were you being hunted? She hesitated. Then she looked him in the eyes. I escaped from a prison ship. I was not a criminal, I was a prisoner of war. They took something from me, something I hid inside my mind. What did you hide? She didn't answer. Instead, she placed 2 fingers on her temple, then slowly reached toward Jake. May I show you? Jake swallowed hard. Is it gonna hurt? No, just don't resist. He nodded. She touched his forehead gently. Suddenly, Jake wasn't in the tent anymore. He stood in a metal corridor, cold, bright, echoing with alien voices. He saw Talari, younger, trapped in a force field, screaming as machines scanned her brain. He felt her fear, her pain, her loneliness. Then the vision shifted. A glowing crystal appeared, small, pulsing, placed carefully inside a hidden compartment at the base of her skull. A data crystal, with information stolen from her captors. Secret weapon. Then the vision ended. Jake gasped and fell back. His heart was racing. He looked at her. That's inside you? She nodded. Yes. It holds codes. Proof of crimes. If I bring it to the Galactic Court, many powerful people will fall. Jake shook his head. And that's why they're hunting you. Yes. He looked around the tent, then back at her. So what now? She looked at him carefully. Now, I stay hidden. And you decide. Decide what? If you stay with me, the bond will grow. You will feel what I feel, even from far away. You may be in danger. Jake stared at her. She was alien, different, strange, but she was also brave, honest. And something inside him wanted to protect her. Even now he could feel her fear, her hope, her trust, and something else, something warm. Jake rubbed his face. This is insane. She smiled slightly. Yes. He looked at her. You could have left. Why didn't you? Talari's voice was soft in his mind. Because you're the first human who didn't treat me like a monster. Jake didn't answer right away. He looked outside the tent. The snow had stopped. The world was quiet. But deep down, he knew peace wouldn't last. Whoever wanted Tilari would come, and now they'd come for him too. He looked at her one more time. "We're in this together now," he said. "Let's see where this bond takes us." The hunt begins. The snow outside was calm now, but Jake felt a storm coming. Not weather. Something worse. Inside the small tent, Tilari sat quietly, sharpening a broken piece of metal into a blade. Her glowing violet eyes were focused, her movements fast and careful. She no longer looked like a helpless girl. She looked like a warrior preparing for battle. Jake watched her from across the tent. His hands were busy fixing the backup radio, but his mind was full of questions. Since their bond, things had changed. He could feel her emotions like distant waves in his chest. Right now, she felt alert, angry, hunted. Jake spoke without looking. "Up. You think they've already tracked you?" Tilari paused. "They are not far." "How do you know?" She placed her fingers on her temple. "My people can sense energy signatures. The hunters use special drones. I feel them moving." "Watching." Jake's jaw tightened. "Then we don't have much time." He grabbed his scanner. Broken, his comms device, useless. Only the short-range beacon worked, and even that could give away their location. Tilari stood up and walked to the edge of the tent flap. She pulled it open just a little and peered out at the snowy plains. The wind had stopped, but something about the silence felt wrong. She turned back. "They will send scouts first. Machines, then soldiers." Jake checked his sidearm. One charge left. Not enough. He frowned. "You said you were carrying data. Something dangerous. What exactly is it?" Tilari sat beside him. Her voice entered his thoughts like a whisper. "It's not just data. It's a map to a hidden research lab. A lab where they experimented on my kind." Jake stared. "What kind of experiments?" "Turning telepaths into weapons." He swallowed. "That's sick." She nodded. "I escaped. Took the location. With me. That's why they want me dead. Or worse, captured again." Jake suddenly felt her fear. It flowed through the bond, tight in his chest. He moved closer, placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not going back," he said firmly. Her eyes met his. "If I die, you will feel it." Jake smirked. "Then I better make sure you stay alive." Suddenly a soft beep echoed from the edge of the tent. The motion sensor. Jake rushed over and looked at the small screen. 3 signals, moving fast. No heat signature. Drones. Tilari grabbed her makeshift blade and crouched near the exit. Jake armed his sidearm and peeked outside. Black machines with red lights hovered low above the snow, scanning the ground. "Stay low," Jake whispered. But it was too late. One of the drones turned. It had seen them. A sharp sound buzzed. Alarm. Signal. And the drone surged forward. Jake fired once, direct hit, one drone exploded. Tilari leapt from the tent, moving faster than he thought possible. She sliced another drone with her blade, sparks flying as it dropped. The third drone shot a laser, narrowly missing Jake's head. He rolled, aimed, fired. Click. Out of charge. "Damn it!" Tilari lunged, grabbing the drone's arm and driving, her blade into its lens. Buzzing stopped. Silence returned, but only for a moment. Tilari's eyes widened. "They know where we are." Jake looked at the sky. In the distance, a dark shape appeared. A dropship, getting closer. Tilari turned to Jake. "We must run." "Where?" She pointed to the east. "There is a cave system, old mining tunnels. They won't track us underground." Jake nodded. No time to pack. He grabbed only what he could carry: medical kit, flashlight, and Tilari's data module hidden inside a small box. They ran. The cold air bit their skin as they crossed the ice field. The sun was setting fast, and shadows grew longer. Behind them, the dropship landed, black armor, red lights glowing like eyes. From its doors, soldiers stepped out. Not human. Tall, armored, masked. Holding plasma rifles. Jake and Talari reached a cliffside and jumped into a narrow gap. Inside the cave, it was dark, damp, and deep. They moved fast through twisting tunnels. Breathless, Jake finally stopped. "We need a plan." Talari looked back toward the cave entrance. "I have one, but it's dangerous." Jake caught his breath. "Go on." "If we reach the deep chamber, I can release a telepathic burst, a pulse to call for help." "From who?" "From others like me." Jake blinked. "Wait, you're not the only one?" Talari's face was calm. "I'm not alone. I just had to survive long enough to call them." Jake stared at her in shock. Everything was changing. Fast. But one thing was clear. The hunt had begun. And now, he was part of it too. A night of heat in the cold. The cave was silent except for the slow drip of water echoing in the dark. Jake leaned against the cold stone wall, breathing hard. His arm was bleeding from a small cut, but he ignored it. Talari knelt beside him, glowing softly in the dim light of his flashlight. They had escaped, for now. But the cold was biting again. Their last heat cell was dead. The small cave they found had no fire, no blankets, and no power. Just darkness and cold stone. Jake's hands were shaking. He had been trained for survival, but not for this kind of freezing death. Talari watched him silently. Then she spoke. Not with words, but through the bond. "You are freezing. You will not last long like this." Jake gave a weak smile. "Nice to know I look that good." "We must share warmth again." Jake blinked. "You sure?" "It's the only way." She moved closer, slowly, wrapping the thin blanket they had around both of them. Jake hesitated, then slid down next to her. Their bodies touched. Her skin was warm now, warmer than his. The bond made it feel stronger, deeper. Their breathing matched. Jake felt her heart beat in his chest. He didn't know if it was hers or his anymore. "Is it the bond?" he whispered. "Yes. It grows when we're close. When we trust." Jake looked at her. Her glowing violet eyes were watching him. Calm. Steady. Then he felt it. A soft wave inside his mind. Not a voice, not a thought, but a feeling. Warmth, safety, longing. Jake opened his mouth to speak, but she moved first. She reached up and gently placed her hand on his chest. "You're kind, strong, but you carry pain." Jake closed his eyes. "I lost my brother," he said. "He froze to death on a mission like this. I couldn't save him. You saved me." Talari's fingers trembled slightly. Jake looked down at her, her skin glowing like moonlight. Her eyes filled with something more than just gratitude. Trust. He swallowed hard. They were pressed together now, inside the blanket. The sleeping bag from before had been left behind, but this felt even closer. More real. "Do your people feel this too?" he asked quietly. "No, not like this, not often." Jake smiled faintly. "So I'm special?" "You are different." Silence again, but not empty. The bond filled it. Jake suddenly felt her memories, soft flashes of her as a child, running across bright blue fields. Her parents teaching her to shield her thoughts, the moment she was captured and dragged away from her home. His chest hurt. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "Don't be. You gave me something no one else ever did." "What?" "A choice." Their foreheads touched. The cold around them faded, not because of heat, but because of connection. They sat there, wrapped in silence and memory, breath mingling in the cold cave. Then, suddenly, Talari pulled back. Her head turned. "They're coming." Jake snapped awake. "How close?" "Not far, minutes." He grabbed his small bag. "We move?" She shook her head. "Too late. They will block the exits. We hide, then we fight." Jake stared at her. You're sure about this? Talari placed a small, glowing crystal into his hand, the one she'd hidden in her body. If I fall, get this to the Galactic Court. It will save many. Jake looked at the crystal, then at her. No, we both make it out. Talari smiled. Then stay close, like before. Touch matters. Mind matters. We are stronger together. Jake felt it in his chest again, strong, pulsing, steady. The bond. It wasn't just a connection anymore. It was a weapon, and tonight, it would be tested. Betrayal and choice. The cave shook. Dust fell from the ceiling as heavy boots landed above. The hunters had arrived. Jake and Talari were deep in the tunnels now, hiding behind sharp stone walls. Their bodies pressed close, silent and still. Even breathing felt dangerous. Talari's hand gripped his tightly. Jake could feel her thoughts rushing into his mind. Images, warnings, names. She recognized the ship outside. It belongs to Vornak. Jake whispered, Who's that? The one who ran the lab. He did the experiments. Jake's jaw clenched. Is he here? Talari nodded slowly. He doesn't want to kill me. He wants to finish what he started. Jake checked his pistol. Still no charge. All they had now was the small blade she carried and the glowing data crystal. Their only way out was to outsmart the enemy. Suddenly a voice echoed down the tunnel. Deep, mechanical, cold. Talari of the Mindwalkers, we know you are here. Surrender. The human will be spared. Jake's heart froze. Talari stared ahead, expression unreadable. They lie. Jake knew she was right. But still, the voice unnerved him. He whispered, What if we fake a surrender? Get close, hit. Then where it hurts? Talari frowned. Vornak is clever. He'd kill you first, use me after. Jake looked down at the glowing crystal in his pocket. Then we need another way. Suddenly, footsteps. Close. Too close. A single enemy soldier entered the tunnel. Jake and Talari froze. The soldier stepped closer, scanning with a red light. One more step, and he'd see them. Then crack. A stone dropped from above, hitting the soldier's helmet. He turned fast, but it was too late. Talari leapt like lightning. Her blade flashed, slicing through his throat. He fell without a sound. Jake stared in shock. That was necessary. She cleaned the blade and grabbed the soldier's radio. Jake suddenly had an idea. Can we use that radio to send a fake message? Talari's eyes lit up. Yes. I can speak his voice. Copy the frequency. She closed her eyes and touched the comm. A moment later, her voice changed. Deeper, robotic, perfect. Target not found. Sector clear. Moving east. The trap was set. They waited, and it worked. Footsteps moved away. Slowly. The tunnel became silent again. Jake exhaled. That was insane. Talari looked at him. You gave me the idea. He smiled. We make a good team. She nodded, but her eyes looked troubled. What is it? Jake asked. There is something I haven't told you. Jake stiffened. Now's not a great time for secrets. Talari looked down. The bond, it's not just feelings anymore. Jake frowned. What do you mean? It's changing. Us. You are becoming more like me. Jake blinked. Wait. What? Your thoughts. I hear them even when far. You learn my language without study. You see things. In dreams. Jake's stomach twisted. He had dreamed of blue fields. Of her home. Of voices not his own. It wasn't just memory. It was transfer. What happens if the bond keeps growing? He asked quietly. Talari looked into his eyes. You may never be human again. Not fully. Jake stared at her. If you want to leave, now is the time. He shook his head. Not a chance. I'm with you. Even if you change? He smiled sadly. I already have. Just then, the cave lit up with flashing red lights. Move! Jake shouted. They ran through the tunnels as enemy soldiers poured in behind them. One shot hit the wall near Jake's head. Boom! He ducked, pulled Talari down. They crawled into a side passage, tight, dark. They didn't stop until they reached a strange door. Metal. Ancient. Talari gasped. This is it. The lab. Jake stared. It's real? She nodded. The proof is inside. As she reached for the door, a voice echoed behind them. Don't open it. They turned. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Not a soldier. A human. Wearing a science team badge. Jake's heart dropped. Wait, you're from the Galactic Research Corps? The man nodded. Name's Dr. Wren. I was sent to find you, but not to rescue you. Talari's eyes narrowed. Jake raised his pistol even though it was useless. Then why are you here? Dr. Wren smiled coldly. To take the data and erase you both. Talari stepped forward. You work for Vornak. Yes, Wren said. You think humans are your allies? Some of us helped build those labs. Jake clenched his fists. You betrayed your own species. I advanced them, Wren said. Now give me the crystal. Jake stepped in front of Talari. Over my dead body. Wren aimed a weapon. That can be arranged. She left something inside him. Jake stood between the traitor and the alien girl. His body trembled, not from fear, but from fury. Dr. Wren, the human scientist turned hunter, pointed a sleek plasma pistol at them. Its glowing barrel pulsed with deadly power. Move, Jake, Wren said. You don't understand what that data is worth. Jake clenched his fists. You're right. I don't understand. What kind of man betrays his own species? Just to torture another? Wren's eyes narrowed. It's not about species, it's about control, power, evolution. Talari stepped forward, her hand on Jake's arm. He wants the crystal, but the true power isn't in it anymore. Jake blinked. What do you mean? Talari didn't answer with words. Instead, she pressed 2 fingers to Jake's temple, and, in that instant, Jake saw everything. A flash of light. A lab, cold, sterile. Talari screaming on a metal table, wires stuck into her skull. Wren and Vornak watching behind glass. Then the escape. Fire. Smoke. Talari running. Bleeding. Holding the crystal. But before she fled, she did something strange. She merged with the data. The secret, the map, the codes. It became part of her mind. And then, through the bond, Jake's mind too. He gasped as the vision ended. Talari, it's in me now. She nodded. Yes, when the bond grew, I passed it to you. Only you can unlock it now. Wren looked confused, then furious. You little... He snarled, raising the pistol. Jake didn't wait. He lunged. A shot fired. Bzzzt, grazing his side. He tackled Wren hard, slamming him into the stone wall. The gun clattered to the ground. Wren fought back, punching. Wildly, but Jake was faster. Stronger. His body moved like never before. His senses were sharper, his thoughts clearer. The bond was changing him. Talari grabbed the pistol. Don't, Wren screamed. You need me alive. Jake held him down. Why? I'm the only one who knows how to reverse the fusion. Without me, you'll stay bonded forever. Jake looked at Talari. He already knew her answer. I don't want to reverse it, neither did he. Talari aimed the pistol at Wren, but Jake stopped her. No, let him live. Let the galaxy see what kind of man he is. He turned and smashed the gun's control module against the wall. Now he's just another man in a cave, Jake said. No more power, no more weapons. They left Wren behind, trapped, shouting empty threats as they descended deeper into the hidden lab. What they found inside was worse than any nightmare. Glass tanks shattered and frozen, alien bodies small and twisted, children. Talari covered her mouth, eyes wide. Jake swallowed hard. They experimented? On kids? She nodded slowly, stepping to one tank. The Creature inside looked like her, same silver blue skin, but its eyes were blank, lifeless. Jake wanted to break everything, burn it down, scream. But then he saw something else. A terminal, still active. The last working console. Jake stepped forward, and without thinking placed his hand on the scanner. The screen glowed. Talari gasped. "Your DNA, it's syncing." Jake looked at her. "I told you, you left something inside me." The console opened a secure file. Names, locations, evidence, thousands of files. Jake stared. This could destroy their entire network. "We must send it," Talari said. "Now." Jake pressed the button. A signal burst from the hidden antenna deep inside the mountain. It raced across the stars, encrypted and targeted. The galactic court would receive it in minutes. Talari slumped against the wall, weak but smiling. "It's done," Jake whispered. But the danger wasn't over yet. Above, in the tunnels, explosions echoed. The soldiers had found the lab entrance. Jake helped Talari up. "We can't fight them all." She looked around. "There is an old escape shaft, but it's narrow. Only one can go at a time." Jake nodded. "Then you go first." She touched his face. "No, you must go. If they catch you, the data dies." Jake looked at her, pain in his eyes. "And if they catch you?" She smiled softly. "Then I'll give them something to fear." She stepped away before he could argue, pulling a small crystal from her necklace. "It's a mind burst," she explained. "I'll use it to scramble their thoughts. It will only last a minute." Jake hesitated. Then he grabbed her hand and kissed it. "I'm not losing you," he said. "You won't," she whispered, "because I'll always be inside you." Then she pushed him toward the shaft. "Go." Jake climbed. Behind him, a burst of energy rippled through the tunnels, silent and invisible, but deadly. He felt the wave of it in his mind. The soldiers behind them screamed, dropping their weapons, clutching their heads. Then, silence. He reached the top. Cold wind hit his face. The snowy wasteland stretched before him. He turned, waiting for her. Seconds passed. Then, she appeared, crawling up beside him, breathing hard, but alive. He pulled her out and held her close. They ran. Hours later, a human rescue team arrived. The signal Jake sent had worked. The evidence had reached the right people. Vornak's empire fell within days. Dr. Wren was found and arrested. The labs were shut down. Talari was given asylum by the Galactic Court. But what surprised everyone most was the bond. Doctors tried to study it. Scientists ran tests, but no one could explain it. How a human and an alien could share thoughts, feelings, even memories. They called it impossible. Jake and Talari called it home. 1 month later, Jake stood on the balcony of his new apartment on New Earth Station. The stars above twinkled softly. He could feel her thoughts, gentle, curious, always there. Talari stepped beside him, wrapped in a soft blanket. "They still don't trust me," she said aloud this time. Jake smiled. "Then they're fools." She leaned against him. "Do you regret it? Letting me in?" He looked at her. "I don't just feel you anymore. I understand you. That's something no one else will ever have." "So what now?" she asked. Jake turned to face her. "Now we stop running. Now we build something. Together." She smiled, and for a moment her eyes glowed with something more than power, something like love. And in that moment, Jake realized he had saved her body, but she had saved his soul.